Welcome to the Explainer. All right, let's just dive right into this because today we're tackling a topic where getting it wrong isn't just an oops moment. It could literally cost you your life. We're looking at the science of survival, and specifically how relying on what we so often call common sense in life or death situations could actually be a fatal mistake. Starting us off, Section 1, Deadly Myths We All Believe. So, what if your survival knowledge is actually deadly? I really want you to genuinely ask yourself this. We've all absorbed these little nuggets of survival wisdom from movies, books, and just passing conversations over the years. But what if the very things you've been taught to do to survive a crisis are completely wrong? It's a terrifying thought. But as we're about to see, many of our deeply ingrained instincts are leading us down the exact wrong path. Because when things hit the fan, relying on common sense can literally be a fatal reality. We're going to completely dismantle these widely believed survival myths today. And we aren't going to do it with more guesswork or folklore. We're using the hard, undeniable science of biology, physics, and statistics to show you exactly why these myths absolutely fall apart under pressure. Moving on to Section 2, the lethal alcohol illusion. Okay, picture this. You're stranded. The temperature is plummeting, and you immediately think of that old movie trope, the St. Bernard dog with the little barrel of brandy around its neck. We've all been sold this idea that alcohol warms you up, right? It feels like common sense. You take a sip, you feel that familiar burn, and a flush of heat hits your skin. But here is the fatal reality. It actively lowers your core temperature. It's a complete biological trick that goes dead against what your physical senses are telling you. Here's what's actually happening. Alcohol acts as a vasodilator, meaning it rushes all your warm blood away from your center and straight out to your skin. That's exactly why you get that deceptive feeling of surface warmth. But you're out in the freezing cold, remember? So out there on the surface, your blood is rapidly chilling in the cold air. By doing this, you are quite literally draining the heat away from your vital organs. You are dangerously cooling your core and fast-tracking the very hypothermia you're trying to fight. Next up, Section 3, the 24-hour missing myth. 24. You know the drill, you've seen the police procedurals, you have to wait 24 hours before you can officially report a missing person to the authorities, right? I need to be incredibly emphatic about this. That supposed to protocol is a complete and utter falsehood. It's a television trope that has totally infected our collective consciousness, and relying on it, it burns up the absolute most critical window of a rescue operation. Here is the true real-life survival protocol. Step 1, you realize someone is missing. Step 2, you report them immediately. That's the whole shebang. There is no waiting period. Waiting is absolutely the worst possible thing you can do in this scenario. Immediate action is the only true protocol, because statistically speaking, those first few hours are absolutely vital for a successful, safe outcome. All right, Section 4, Physics, Stats, and Survival. Let's tackle an everyday myth we throw around like it's a law of nature. Lightning never strikes the same place twice. We use it in daily conversation as a metaphor for absolute impossibility. But the fatal reality here, it is completely statistically false. Believing that a place is somehow magically safe just because it was already hit is a massive statistical fallacy. It totally ignores how weather actually functions in the real world. Let's break down those actual weather and geographical realities. Lightning is simply a massive electrical discharge looking for the fastest, easiest path to the ground. Tall objects, isolated structures, conductive terrain, these features don't just magically disappear just because they were struck once. In fact, their very height and composition make them statistically way more likely to get hit again and again. Standing in the same spot, thinking it's a magical shield against a second strike, that's a fundamental and highly dangerous misunderstanding of nature statistics. Okay, what about this one? It's a highly ingrained societal belief that haunts almost anyone walking on a sidewalk in a big city. The myth is that a simple coin dropped from the top of a towering skyscraper will pick up so much immense speed that it'll act like a sniper bullet and kill a pedestrian below. It's a terrifying thought, but the fatal reality is much less cinematic. Physics simply says, no. Let's slow down for a second to really understand the physics at play here. It all comes down to an established principle called terminal velocity. As that coin falls from the skyscraper, the air resistance pushing up against it gets steadily stronger. Eventually, that upward friction perfectly balances the downward pull of gravity. At that point, the coin's speed hits a hard cap. It physically cannot fall fast enough to pierce human skin or cause lethal damage. Sure, it might sting, but human resilience easily absorbs an impact that physics has strictly speed limited. Which brings us to Section 5, the biology of resilience. Whether we're talking about the icy deception of alcohol, the critical zero-hour timeline of a missing person, lightning stats, or the air resistance against a falling coin, the absolute crucial takeaway remains the same. Rely on science, not folklore. Understanding the cold, calculated truth behind these myths is what actually saves lives in an emergency. Folklore might make for a great movie script or a catchy saying to pass down, but it entirely crumbles under the harsh reality of a crisis. Science, facts, and logic are your ultimate survival tools. I really want to anchor our conclusion on this core concept directly from our sources, the biology of human resilience. It is an incredibly powerful idea. Our bodies and our physics-bound world operate on strict, unbreakable rules. And when we take the time to understand those rules, when we guide our actions by facts rather than fiction, our survivability is frankly incredible. We are built to endure, but only if we're operating in reality. Which leaves us with this final vital question. What other common sense do you need to unlearn? If these deeply ingrained truths turned out to be fatal misconceptions, what else are you carrying around in your head that might be putting you at risk right now? Take a moment today to really question your everyday assumptions. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Stay sharp out there and keep learning.